Hey, you guys, I just wanted to add a couple of comments. I know that I've already given you feedback. I just finished upgrading assignment 9, the week 3 agenda summary. And this is where we were talking about the stuff from chapter 3, those 3 levels of customer service or types of customers. And that is the customer always right, that small group discussion board. And I wanted to just add a little bit to that because after I got through all of it, I've got the real impression that most of you think that the level 3 customer is like really bad, right? Right? That's not necessarily the case, and I don't want you to take that away from this, okay? And for several of you, you were just, I'm only level 1. I would be hard pressed for most of you if you read through every part of level 2 and level 3 that you wouldn't recognize yourself in those 2 other levels, because it's really common for us to be in all 3. Now, most of the time, I'm level 1, and I know I shared this in my regular go through the chapter together stuff, but you have to put this in the perspective, and I put this in everybody's feedback in the general feedback area, that this is like pick your battles, right? I'm not going to go all level 3 on you if it's a level 1 concern, right? Or even a level 2 concern. But I want you to look at that level 2 and 3 again, especially level 3. Because, for example, if this is the company's fault, and you were promised something, which is one of those categories, or you find something unacceptable, which I think is what I also shared in my my chapter overview thing. There's no reason that you would have to be a bad customer about it. You're just standing up for your rights. I'm going to stand up for my rights. And Lorinda, I think in part of your feedback, you said that you have a voice and you're not afraid to use it. And that's me as well, right? But it has to be something worth it, right? So that's where you may not see yourself. But if you think back, if you have kids, for example, little kids, or if this was your grandma, right, or your parent, and something happened to them, would you turn into the level 3, right, representative on their behalf? Oh, I think some of us might, right? Because boy, I can take most things. Most of, like I said, I'm level 1, maybe throw me level 2. I had a hard time even finding a couple things in level 2 for me, but I tell you what, you mess with somebody I care about, oh, I can go all level 3 on you. Actually, I'm really professional about most things. But I wanted to give you an example of this. I just happened to me like, oh, whatever blizzard we just got through, number 2 or 3 or 4, or whatever it was. I got stuck almost to my house, trying to get to my house. That's never happened before. We've been here since 91. Right? And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, I had been out snowshoeing with my dog. We didn't have maybe 2 inches of snow, but there was that hard pack underneath, so it was slippery. But still, I should be able to just walk right up my hill. I don't have a 4-wheel drive SUV. I've never needed one. I have mine looks like one, but it's considered a car. It's on a unibody, right? Which means it's just a little front wheel drive, lightweight, 4-cylinder, little car. And I love that. I get really good gas mileage, blah, 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 right? So I'm thinking, whoa, wow, I can't believe how slippery it is. So I was able, and this is a switchback, so you can't like get a run at my hill to get up my hill to get to my house. And when you have a switchback, you got to slow down to make the corners. So you can't really get a run at that last little push where it's a sharp right turn, and then you got to go down or whatever. Right? I live out in the country. So I managed to just back down into, and there's a neighbor that had, their farm is way back in, but I was able to just back down into their driveway to turn around and point downhill and drive down to the neighbors, right, at the bottom of the ridge, right, and then hitch a ride home because my husband wasn't answering his phone, because I said, well, there's no way I'm going to get up my hill. I know that. So fast forward to, this is a Sunday. So Monday I call Dull Ford, which is where I get my tires and my stuff. And I called and I said, listen, I said, I guess I probably need some new tires here or something. My husband was a former mechanic. He looked at my tires and goes, well, these tires, have hardly any tread on them. And I said, when I was there the last time, I said, I get all my tires from you. I do all my oil changes from you. I trust you guys, but I said, I'm really surprised that these 2 front tires are as bad as they are. And the guy pulls up the report and he goes, well, yeah, it looks like when they did your tire rotation the last time, the 2 of the worst tires were on the front. And I went, wow, really? That's pretty unacceptable. And those are my words. I said, that's pretty unacceptable because, I said, I trust you. And I said, to me, that means that you're promising me, you know, that you're taking care of my vehicle, or the things that you do are in my best interest, right? For a safety reason, even. I said, how does that happen? And the guy says, you know, I don't know. He said, the only thing I can think of is they did your oil change, rotated your tires, then they measured them. And I said, well, isn't that a learning opportunity for you? I said, those youngins that you got out there, and I said, and I'm not picking on them, I said, because my husband and I owned our own garage for 5 years. He's a former professional mechanic, and where do all the younger mechanics start out? They started out swapping tires and doing oil changes. So that's fine. But this is a learning opportunity. I said, you need to go out there and say, they need to measure those tires before they do that. So then you have the opportunity to come back to the customer and say, listen, if we do our normal rotation, the two of the worst tires are going to be on the front. Or otherwise, you might want to consider putting two new front ones, new front tires, or all the way around, whatever you'd want to do, because mine's front wheel drive. They didn't do that. And he agreed with me, said, you're absolutely right about that. And I said, well, we're just going to go ahead. I said, my husband looked at the tires. I could get two front ones, but he didn't have those tires anymore. They didn't sell them. Now, my hubby's really big about you don't mix and match brands. So I said, okay, we'll get all 4 new tires. Well, the only thing he had were very, very expensive, like $220 a piece. And I said, well, guess what? I don't have a lot of choices unless I go to another company. I said, so maybe I should just do that, because I said, that's a lot of money to pay, and I know I need tires. And he said, listen, we'll work out something for you. So fast forward again, I get there, blah, blah, blah. And he had found a tire for me that was $160 a piece, which is still a lot, but they're really good tires. And since we have a real Wisconsin winter, right? So I was all level 3. I mean, this was not going to be, I was not going to accept anything less than this. Now, I did say to him, listen, I'm the customer. And again, my husband is a professional mechanic, and maybe he should have looked at it, or maybe I should have looked at it closer. I do have some role in this, and I told him that. But at the same time, I said, you know what? He isn't a mechanic for a reason anymore. I said, because he's retired. He doesn't want to deal with it. So I said, I'm bringing it to people that I rely on. And he said, no, I will take this back to management, and we will talk about this, because this is, you know, something bad could have happened to you. And I said, right on. Right. As it was, it didn't. And it didn't really cost me anything. Or if it had cost me something, like I had an accident because of it, I might have had a few more words for them about, well, maybe you ought to take a 20% discount off of every one of those tires as well. All right. So I didn't want you to walk away thinking that level 3 customers are these really bad people. And they can be, because you guys had some really crazy examples. I mean, I had notes here. I mean, the foul language, the abusive behavior, some of it was just so ridiculous on their part. I mean, ripping up the cookbook at, I think, Cindy, I think that was your daughter. Because the other people that weren't in your team didn't get to hear this. So she insists that she's going to return this cookbook with no receipt, and it's overdue, whatever. And it was a gift, right? So she wants the money. And when it wasn't going to work out that way, she got verbally abusive, and then ended up ripping up the cookbook and throwing it at your daughter's face. All right. Okay. That might be like level 9. I don't know if we have a category for those. So anyway, I wanted to throw that in there because you can remain very professional and still be a level 3. And I want you to know that, because you have rights as the customer. If this is their fault and you don't feel that you're asking for the stars and the moon, both, right? And you're not abusing this system, okay? Now, if you are dealing with someone like me, you better be straight up professional back with them. Like if he had gotten smart with me at any moment, boy, things would have been very different for me, because I would have just ended the conversation. I would have actually drove down there and I would have met with their manager. I know who the owners are. You know, I don't have a personal relationship, but they know who I am, right? So that's not a good thing if someone's willing to do that. So that's when you start bending over backwards, when they are being a really good customer and they're trying to work with you and they're letting you know that this went awry and what your role was in this. Then that's when your professional customer service skills really have to kick in. And that's where, you know, you guys did so well in how you handled things that you wrote about. But when you get a level 3 customer, that's when you really, really have to, you know, that's what's it called? The metal meets the something. I'm never good at remembering those things. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there. I hope you guys, nobody is stuck out there, right? And it's like sub-zero again today. The high today is like 8 or whatever. And daylight savings time is this weekend. So who knew? All right. All right, you guys. See you later. Bye.